updated top 10 list. About 6 years ago, I did two top 10 lists. Ranking the top 10 WWE in-ring performers of all time, and then the WWE superstars of all time. Now, what you might say is, well, the in-ring performers are people like that tell the stories in the ring. How do we get inside the ring? Like how do you wrestle or work and things like that, basically. The superstars, it involves everything, and like how big of a star you are, and how big of a name that you have made for yourself in the business, things like that. So that's what different between in-ring performers and superstars. And I did two top 10 lists about 6 to 7 years ago. And I said, it's time to give that an update, because ever since then, there have been guys and gals who have come into the business and have just, come into WWE and have become great, big names and good in-ring performers. So the top 10 superstars that's going to happen, tomorrow or the next day. But today, we're doing the top 10 in-ring performers. So let's go ahead and let's get it started. Number 10, Brock Lesnar. If Brock Lesnar were to stay with WWE throughout his entire, career, you might say that he might be the greatest of all time in the ring. But his hiatus from wrestling in general, I think, causes some calls like that. But he gets in the ring, he puts on fantastic matches. Like you think about it, like he put on a WrestleMania 39, he put on a match. Nobody was talking about the match with Omos. So really, we're gonna get Brock Lesnar versus Omos? But he put on a very good match with Omos. One of the best Omos matches he had as a single star. And then he had one, later that year with Seth Rollins. That was his best wrestling match. So, and Omos has been over in Japan, working in Japan, and so he's come back. He hasn't come back on the screen yet. So I think they're gonna try to, do something with him, because he's 7 for 3. Even with Vince gone, he's still they gotta try everything to get everything out they can out of a giant. So, yeah, but Brock Lesnar was amazing, and he is amazing, and he just puts on some fantastic performances, and he's just truly a master in that ring when it comes down to a lot of that stuff. He picked it up so quickly, coming from the college ranks and to the professional ranks. It's amazing. So, Brock Lesnar, number 10 on the all-time list of WWE in-ring performers. Number 9, Charlotte Flair. The only woman who makes this list. But, how can you really, argue with this? She has put on big-time performances each and every time she's gotten in that ring with, and it's amazing what she has been able to do. Now, some people might think that she's over-pushed or overused or whatever, but there's a reason why. Because she's the best. She's the best female performer the WWE has ever seen, and I don't think there's a question about that. Now, you can have your favorites. You may like Becky Lynch more because of her story, and maybe because she isn't overpushed, or Bayley, because Bayley seems to be underpushed and underappreciated, or even Sasha Banks, because for whatever reason you may tend to gravitate toward her. But I really think if you're really honest with yourself, even though one of those may be your favorites, Charlotte has been the best performer out of the 4 horsewomen, and the best female performer ever seen in WWE, and I would say ever seen in professional wrestling. I really don't think there's an argument. That's why she's number 9 on this list. Charlotte Flair. Number 7. No, number 8. Excuse me. Rey Mysterio. Now, Rey Mysterio was on my first list of in-ring performers. He was number 10. He is he's now number 8. Now, there were several people who I took out of my original list. Let's get this, because I think it needs to be updated and it needs to be looked at from a different angle. But Rey Mysterio stays on this list. I think one reason why he's one of the best in-ring performers is because he, probably better than anybody, can tell the story of the big man versus little man, the David versus Goliath story. And he's been doing it for years. And he's in his 50s now. If not, he's close to it. So it's amazing what he has done and what he continues to do. And he's now trying to give the rub to the younger folks, the Dragon Lees of the world, the LWO other members, Cruz del Toro and Joaquin Wild, trying to give this Zelina Vega. So he's passed down his work from generation to generation. And I'm sure that he is spouting wisdom to people like Penta and to Rey Fenix, who will be making his debut next week on SmackDown from Chicago, if any other place. And that's interesting. So yeah, I mean, there's a lot of things that they're going to be doing. So, but Rey Mysterio he's one of the true icons of this sport. One of the where he's the only guy to be inducted into the Hall of Fame while still as an active wrestler. If I'm correct, right? I know Ric Flair was, but that was his last match. He was, that was obviously going to be his last match at WrestleMania 24. But yeah, he was inducted into the Hall of Fame as an active wrestler and still going. So good for him. So there's just an unreal sense of legendary when it comes to Rey Mysterio, and he is truly amazing. His wrestling with the likes of Eddie Guerrero and Chris Jericho and all of those other guys. When he back in WCW with the Parkers and the Juventud Guerreros and everything like that. And he had great matches with the big guys too. The Undertaker, Kevin Nash, and all those guys as well. He's amazing, and I can't believe he's still doing it at this age. Rey Mysterio, number 7. No, again, I keep saying number 7. Number 8 on the list of the greatest WWE in-ring performers of all time. 7. Now number 7. Chris Jericho. And again, we're talking about the WWE here. We're not talking about the stuff that he's now doing at AEW, which does not seem to be, well received at anything. After he lost the title to what's his face, Jon Moxley, he has seemed to be like on a slight decline, with in every sense of the word, in the ring, out of the ring, whatever. They love the Judas though. They do love the Judas, but it doesn't seem to be what it is. And here's the thing, right? I think when Chris came to the or at that time the WWF, they put him in the match with X-Pac because the way they said it was that if you can't have a good match with X-Pac, you're not, good enough. And they wanted to test him, and he went out and had a good match with X-Pac. So, and he's had good matches all up and down his WWE, time. And he had great chemistry with a lot of people. He had great chemistry with CM Punk. He had some good chemistry with Kane. Kurt Angle and The Rock, him and The Rock, as we see him right here with the Undisputed Championship, him having the matches with The Rock for that, World Heavyweight Championship, they were great and they were amazing. So it was awesome. So and it was done in the right way. So it was good for him. And and he is the first undisputed champion, and he just had amazing things. He had a tremendous rivalry with you know who, and that was awesome. But by the way, some people may say, why is you know who not on this list? He was on the original list. Why is he not on this one? I decided not to put him on this list. He would probably deserve to still be on this list. He probably would have knocked out Lesnar. He probably would have been somewhere around this area. But I decided maybe it wasn't the right thing to do to put him on this list. Who knows? Maybe another 6 years if I update it, maybe I might put him on. I might put him back on because my theory would have changed or anything like that. But as of right now, I didn't think it was right to put him on this list. Anyway, Chris Jericho, he was amazing, and I think he showed that he had what it took in the WWE, and he did it in the ring, and he was awesome. So Chris Jericho is number 7 on the list of all-time in-ring WWE performers. Yes, the late great Owen Hart is number 6. Who can never forget the WrestleMania match that he had with his brother Brett that opened the show, and still to this day, the greatest WrestleMania open match there ever has been. Maybe you think about it, the greatest opening match in the history of professional wrestling. Just a tremendous match between those two, and he had some great matches with other ones as well. With the other, he had good matches with Austin. He had good matches with a whole bunch of other guys in that era, and he was tremendous. He had a great feel about himself, feel about the ring that you could see. When you're younger and you watch him, you're not watching for that. You're watching for just because you like it and you want your guy to win. And Owen Hart at the time was the heel. But when you go back and look at stuff that Owen was going through and he was doing, he was amazing. In and out of the ring. So just epic. And obviously we lost him way too soon. And I won't go into my feelings about him not in the WWE or anything like that. That's not for this time. This is a time for positivity and to celebrate Owen Hart. And he's number 6 on the list of the greatest WWE in-ring performers of all time. Number 5, Eddie Guerrero. Another one we lost way too young. And he was great. He was just pure passion in the ring. And it's, like his story is amazing because when he had the car accident and he was getting onto all of those pills and drugs and to make up for that and to come back and then to get sober and get his family back, get his career back was amazing. And you gotta love that story. And in the ring, man, he had just in some famous matches. I talked about with Owen Hart, perhaps the greatest opening match of all time in professional wrestling with him and Bret Hart at WrestleMania 10. Well, at one of the Halloween Havocs in 1997, I think it was, Eddie Guerrero and Rey Mysterio had a great opening match. A lot of people love and enjoy for that one as well. And I think it's an amazing test to see what Eddie could do. Because not only could Eddie do all of the lucha, high flying stuff, he was a technical wizard as well. And man, he was just tremendous. Absolutely tremendous. Well deserving on this list. Number 5, WWE in-ring performer of all time, Eddie Guerrero. No, not 5. Number 4, excuse me, Daniel Bryan. Yeah, he was not on this list. During the first time I did this. And like I said, this was 6 or 7 years ago, so we're talking about 2018, and I'm not really sure or think about it, because that was around the time when I think he had to leave. He had to leave because of the concussions and everything like that. So I'm not sure why I didn't put him on the list last time. I didn't put him, he was nowhere on the list, but when I said after re-looking at some stuff, yeah, he had to be on this list. His short time in the WWE, he really put on tremendous performances. I think he's one of the people that you can say he didn't have a bad match with anybody, from what I can remember. He got in the ring with somebody, and he was great. He's another guy. He's a smaller guy, and he was good. He was very good with the David and Goliath stuff. The stuff he did with Kane when he won the WWE Championship, and Kane was great. Him in a tag team match with Kane was awesome. He was able to have tremendous matches with Batista and Orton and Triple H at WrestleMania 30 and all of those two matches. He had some great contests with CM Punk going back, recalling their days of glory at Ring of Honor. And then when he came back after concussion, he was able to be cleared. Again, some great matches with The Miz and great matches with AJ Styles, and what he did for Kofi Kingston, I think, was absolutely amazing. Putting him over, because really he wasn't supposed to. That wasn't supposed to happen. He was going to, I think, hold on to the championship, for a year. I think that's what the deal was. They had, when AJ Styles won it from Jinder Mahal, he held on to a year until around the time of Survivor Series when he had Daniel Bryan. And I think the thing was that Daniel Bryan was going to have a match with, Mustafa Ali at WrestleMania, and then he was going to win that, and then he was going to hold it until the year came to Survivor Series then. So that was something interesting. And he was just, but he had Kofi Kingston, and what he did in the Elimination Chamber, I think really set Kofi on the path to him winning it at WrestleMania, and he was a big part of that. So, an absolute, great match and great story, and he ended his WWE career on a tremendous match with Roman Reigns on SmackDown, and just truly amazing. So, number 4 on the list of WWE in-ring performers of all time is Daniel Bryan. The best there is, the best there was, and the best there ever will be. He's not the best of all time. Number 3 is Bret the Hitman Hart. Listen, I don't think there's anything that you can say about him that is just, you have to look at it. I mean, he was able to just do with anybody. You want to talk about somebody who didn't have a bad match with anybody. Again, just was amazing. And then we talked about the Owen Hart match, but the Steve Austin match, WrestleMania 13, tremendous. And they're gonna induct matches in the Hall of Fame, and that's gonna be the first match inducted into the WWE Hall of Fame. The WWE have been putting out like the top 50. I think it was the top 50 WrestleMania matches of all time. I wonder if this is going to be number one now. Because I know what should be number one, but I'm only going to put this number one. I do not remember where I had this match on my list of WrestleMania matches. Give me a second. So I had it as number 5. And as I look back at it, I had Bret and Owen match at 6. So, and then I think at 7 I had the Bret and Shawn match. So see, Bret Hart had matches with everybody. That was just tremendous. Not only at WrestleMania, but all across the board. He seemed to have gotten the best out of Diesel and the best out of the Undertaker. At times, although we could also say that Shawn got the best out of the Undertaker, he got the real best out of the Undertaker. And he just had great matches with everybody. And again, we're talking about the greatest in-ring performers, and that's what the greats do. They pull people who are on their lower levels up to their level, and it's tremendous, and it's wonderful. So and Bret, Bret is Bret. When you start talking about now, we're talking about guys who are one of one, right? I think Bret is one of one. The excellence of execution, and even though he's not the number 1 greatest performer of all time, he's the number 3. He is the best there is, the best there was, and the best that there ever will be. Bret the Hitman Hart, number 3. So, number 2 is Kurt Angle. And this is what I love. Sometimes the internet wrestling community, or the IWC as it's called, sometimes can just be sickening. With some of the things that they do, the way they treat some of the people, the way they kind of bitch and snipe at everything, it's like they nitpick this and nitpick that, and they just say a lot of the things toward the wrestlers and the trainers that you just wouldn't say, and you just wouldn't say out loud, it seems like, and or anything like that. But one of the things over the past maybe year that I really would give the internet wrestling community credit for is, when Kurt Angle came out and said that Perk Angle kind of didn't, they understood why they were saying it and things like that, but it still didn't feel too good because of his addictions. And the internet community said, okay, we're not saying Perk Angle anymore. We're saying Peak Angle. And this is talking about his run in TNA. And when you think about his run in TNA, along with his run in WWE, we are talking about maybe the greatest wrestler that there ever was. But this is just the WWE, and he was tremendous in WWE. I mean, they talk about how he came to this business and picked it up just like that. And he was like one of the... Well, let me bring you guys in on this. I'm here. I kicked my cord, and my computer turned off. So it unplugged and everything like that, so it went off. So I was in the middle of, and hopefully you guys will be able to hear this. I was in the middle of giving Kurt Angle his flowers, and it jumped off. So I'm gonna try to end these pretty quickly. These last two, just quickly to Kurt Angle. On Kurt Angle, it's pretty amazing what he was able to do, and he's able to have good matches with everybody. Again, like I said, the last, the last 3 guys, even the last 4 guys, really counting Daniel Bryan, are guys who could have good matches with everybody. And that doesn't mean that they didn't have a bad match. They did, but it you know, sometimes you just don't click, or sometimes you get other things in your mind. Sometimes things just don't work out. But Kurt Angle was amazing, and truly one of the legends. You know, the number 2 on the list of top 10 WWE in-ring performers of all time is Kurt Angle. And number 1, the Heartbreak Kid, Shawn Michaels. Yes, it is him. There's a reason why they put him in all of the new fangled matches. They put him in the Hell in a Cell, and they had him do, you know, the ladder matches, and they had him do everything like that because he was able to put on a performance unlike any other. And I really think, really comes down to it, you know, and Steve Austin doesn't like the match, but the WrestleMania 14, is it 14? Yeah, WrestleMania 14 match with him and Steve Austin, Shawn Michaels and Steve Austin, where Shawn was dealing with the bad back, and it was at that time supposed to be his last match, and that's a very good match, you know. Even though Steve Austin doesn't like it because he doesn't blame Shawn. He just doesn't like it because he knows what Shawn was going through, and it could have been a lot better. It could have been. It could have been an all-time classic if you know, Shawn was a lot healthier. But even with the bad back, he did some amazing things. He worked his ass off, and even though that was the time when Shawn Michaels was a dick, he put over Austin. It was like he was supposed to. So, and I really think that it's just the stuff that he done. And people will say that when he came back, his second run was greater than his first. And that probably is true. Because you know, you have those Undertaker matches from the WrestleMania. You have the Kurt Angle match at WrestleMania 21. You have the Triple Threat at WrestleMania 20. You know, you have the WrestleMania 19. Yeah, I think it's WrestleMania 19, right? That's the one with him and that's the one with him and Chris Jericho. He had a good match with John Cena at WrestleMania 22, and he had a hell of a brawl with Vince at WrestleMania 23. 24, the match with Ric Flair ending his WWE career. And then of course the Undertaker match. There goes Mr. WrestleMania. He is. And he's also great at a lot of other things. It's just truly amazing how special this guy was. And now he's teaching the younger generation about this business, and that bodes well for those of us who love this sport. The greatest in-ring performer of all time, the Heartbreak Kid, Shawn Michaels. Alright guys, that is going to be it for this top 10 list. Again, tomorrow or the next day, be on the lookout for the top 10 superstars list that I will be giving out to you as well. A little note here for those who are regulars to the channel. You may even know it where you took some time off from posting. Well, I've had some computer issues, and also I got a strike here on YouTube. So I was out for a week, and then my power supply was dead apparently, so I had to get another one. So my computer is back. I don't have a strike, so I can upload. So all is well in the world here on AJTRIP. Alright guys, post your comments down below. Tell me what you guys think. Let me know what you guys think about my list. Would you guys agree? Would you guys add, take anybody off, add anybody on? Let me know down in the comment section. Like the video, share the video, subscribe to the channel. And as always, thank you guys so much for watching. This is your boy, AJTRIP, signing off. As always, be good to each other, y'all. Be careful out there. and I am out.